What is up, everybody? Welcome to another Headless' Magical Mailbag. I'm joined once again by my co-host, Nick. Nick, tell him what you've been working on. Tell him what you're doing.
What is up? What am I working on? Editing a thing on auras. Then I'll be moving over to covering Plato. They were going to cover him next. Shows that we got going on. I've meant to set it up today, but we will be covering the Gateway project again tomorrow. There's a bunch of us coming on for that. Stargate, the analysis of the Gateway process, paperwork, part 2. That should be fun. And then we got Troubles coming on from Paranoid Radio Saturday to talk about like weird stuff with trees. It's actually right up your alley. It was like piezoelectricity and stuff with trees and stuff and some other shit. He even specifically said, he's like, yo, Headless is really going to like this because he knows what type of shit you're into. He watches the show. Yeah, we got him coming on. That should be fun. And then we got that really smart Alexander, that Polish kid Alexander coming back talking about science and history and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. So, I'm not sure how I'm going to do it. I'm not sure how I'm going to fit it in, but I really want to do this show. Science to my part. I got all of the stuff from Michael Aquino's, sort of biography. I've got all of his books, right? Just going to be going through them and getting it straight from the horse's mouth. I think a lot of people just sort of neglect that whole thing. But if you guys have any ideas, you can send them to headlessgiantpodcast@gmail.com and we'll figure it out. If somebody wants to be co-host, if somebody wants to help me out, that'd be great too. So
yeah, you know what? You should try to actually read it and then cover it. Like it's my suggestion. Like read it and then cover it yourself, like what you got out of it that you read. Like you think it's important. Yeah.
Right. Well,
I think that'd be really interesting to see an occultist read that book and tell people what they see in it.
Right. Exactly. Well, yeah, if you don't have the frame of reference of all of this Crowley stuff, all of we go over 777. Who do you think read 777? Yeah, this guy right here. So all of this stuff is inside the mind of all of these other people who idolize people like Crowley. So if you don't know what was going on in Crowley's mind, you're not going to know what's going on inside of the psychos that are around today who follow that stuff. So go figure. But I kind of wanted to get into my symbol.
Oh, yeah.
Which is the pentacle. I don't know why we haven't done it thus far, but it's funny how much this Wikipedia article is influenced by the Golden Dawn. Right? So right off the bat, it's like also pronounced pentacle and thelema, right? Following Aleister Crowley. Did Crowley invent this?
No.
Come on, give me a break. And again, it's like it all goes back to Crowley on this page. It doesn't make any sense. Like they should be going over the historical roots. They should be talking about Pythagoras. They should be talking about all this other stuff. Instead, it's Seal of Solomon, Golden Dawn, all the rest of this other stuff. It's like, where's the history? But I found it was interesting here. Pentacles may be sewn into the chest of one's garment. Have you ever seen anybody do that as some kind of a ritual?
I think it may actually go on like maybe like I don't know if Golden Dawn possibly might actually put that on their shit at some point.
Well, it seems like
for specific orders, but nothing that I've ever done did I ever like need that. If anything, it was just a pentacle on my altar.
Right.
You know, I wasn't putting it on myself.
Yeah, like a hooded, not caped, but a hooded cloak with
with the pentacle right on the chest. Yeah, I have seen that. I think that might be Golden Dawn, actually. Let me see.
What could be? Again, like all of this stuff is Golden Dawn. Golden Dawn. Like, are other magical orders using this? Apparently, Wicca. They mention it down here at the bottom.
Then again, Golden Dawn might be the hexagram. Actually, it might be completely.
Yeah. Again, Golden Dawn is so much more into the hexagram than the pentacle.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
But whoever was writing this one had Golden Dawn on the brain. Clearly. But the first documents to depict pentacles were the 16th century grimoire called the Heptameron by Pseudo Petro Abano. I haven't read that one yet. I got to read that one. Key of Solomon and the Heptameron. There is only one pentacle, while the Key of Solomon, there are dozens of different pentacles. Heptameron pentacle is a hexagram that it is. See, again, they're doing this. They're screwing it up. Like, define what a pentagram is. Just define what a pentacle is, and they're using this fluid definition, right? Is pentacle, does that have to do with the actual 5 points of the star or not? Because pentacle sounds like all of the shapes fitting within that, but it's just very messy. I don't know why people haven't tried to clean this up. I mean, magically speaking, it's very clear what it represents. This is the sign of the earth, right? Gerald Gardner, known by some as the father of Wicca, got his concept of pentacles largely from the 1908-09 Smith Tarot deck, in which the pentacles are discs that are covered with a pentagram. In Gardner's 1949 book, High Magic's Aid, 1954 book, Witchcraft Today, Gardner defined pentacle as a 5-pointed star intended to mean a pentagram. In 1959 book, The Meaning of Witchcraft, Gardner defined the pentacle as a synonym of pentagram. So if you're looking for a more confusing source than Gerald Gardner, I don't know if you're going to find one. But that's what you get. So the word was first recorded in English in 1561 from earlier French uses. Talisman, right? So they're throwing that in there too. So it's like the talisman is the pentagram, is the pentacle, is the pentaculum. And that's the Latin diminutive. I like the Italian better. Pentacolo. That's much cuter.
Yeah,
cuter words in Italian versus Latin, And a lot of people don't know that there's a difference between Italian and Latin.
Oh, yeah.
But I just thought I'd bring that up. Yeah, I mean, there's so many more differences between Italian and Latin. But there's a whole history lesson in there. What's up, everybody? Look at these comments, man. They're going nuts.
I just have Tabaron there.
Have Tamaron?
Yeah, I want to see what those symbols look like again. Tabaron sigils. Because I'm almost positive I worked with that stuff.
I'm writing it down. But yeah, the 5-pointed star, what it means to me is it's within the geometry itself, right? So it represents this kind of fractal, right? Everything about it is golden ratio fractal. So it's like if you think about all of the pieces being laid out end to end, you can make a spiral out of it because all of these pentacle pieces fit inside the golden ratio pretty perfectly. Now, that's one of the reasons why it was sacred to the Greeks, who, this was like the symbol of, the hand sign, at least, for the, I was blank on his name. The formula with the triangle. I don't know why. No, the triangle formula with the 90-degree angle. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Anyways, their symbol was the pentacle, and they would show it to each other before they were allowed into the lodge. And it was really, really ancient as a form of magic, right? It was mathematics and it was magic. It brought the two together, and that's why you see such a huge symbolic influence going forward, is because of the I'm still blanking on his name. I don't know why I'm doing it. But this is why so much of gematria comes down to, geometry. It all has to.
Yeah, they all coincide.
Right.
You don't understand is like, why don't the word all right. If you think when somebody says pentagram, they're always talking about a 5-pointed star. I've never had anybody ever say pentagram and they drew a hexagram. Right. Why is it with pentacle you can fuck that up? Why don't they just use pentacle as a hexagram and then use pentagram as for the pentagram?
If anything, what they should do is they should change the E to an A and call the pentacle anything that fits inside of the circle. Because that's what it would mean with the pentacle with the A in there. So if you're going to make it all about talismans or anything like that, pentacle just makes so much more sense than pentacle.
Yeah, because it's really only like ceremonial magicians. I mean, it's weird. They could say pentacle and actually use a pentagram, or say pentacle and use a hexagram. But then a normal witch or anybody, if they say pentacle, they're going to be using a pentagram.
Right.
For the most part. I mean, that's what I've ever seen. So it's kind of funny how that whole fucked up like verbiage. Because like even the Golden Dawn, this was one of the reasons why I didn't even join the Golden Dawn, even though there wasn't one around. Is that like I think you have to start making your own shit. And I had to make one of my own pentacles, and it was going to be a hexagram. And you had to paint it and all this shit. And I was like, yo, I can't paint these straight lines and make a hexagram. No fucking way. And I was like, the shit that they expect you to make, fuck this arts and crafts. It's too much for me. I mean, I enjoyed it, but it was just too much. I don't know if it was necessary, but it wasn't like that book that they had. So, yeah, like, and it was a hexagram. So, I mean, yeah, I always thought, pentacle. And then I had my own pentacle that had an actual pentagram on it.
What does it mean to you?
I would look at it. I mean, normally, I guess like it could be the person themselves. It could be all 5 elements put together, represent Earth. All 5 elements put together, like to come to be, I guess, to take form. I even had it like associated with the moon too. For some reason, I had like stuff with like moon symbolism with it as well. There's a lot of things. The human extent, with other symbolism, maybe the human or the soul extending upward. There's a lot of when it comes to ceremonial magic, you can start looking at it in so many different ways, or a few more than maybe that would be normal in witchcraft. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I would normally have it as a representative of Earth too, as well as one of the elements. As like consider, as one of the elements on my altar. The pentacle would be. I had it on wood. And I actually burned it in with like one of those hand burners. Right. So I did that myself, like into like something that came from the earth, to represent Earth as well.
Symbolic of the whole thing, right? So it's like if you're gonna,
but basically, like this is even where I'm bringing everything to as well.
Right.
Yeah, that was even another thing. Like sometimes if I had, let's say, I wanted to charge a talisman or a candle. I was going to do it on top of that pentacle because to me, it's representing Earth. It's representing here. Yeah. So I'm going to bring every, whatever I'm focusing on or blessing, doing whatever. Yeah. It's going to be on top of that motherfucker.
Right. And, again, the Wicca tradition draws so heavily from Golden Dawn. It's really hard to, pull it apart in anything other than imagery. So, again, they list Gerald Gardner in there after all the stuff from, but Wicca is far more of a popular thing than Golden Dawn ever was. So Gerald Gardner
get chicks naked easier too for some reason.
There you go.
It's easier on the witchcraft than ceremonial magic. Outside in the woods looks a lot better than like some eyes wide shut location.
Right.
You feel a lot safer out in the woods, I guess.
Well, there's more of an element of danger to it out in the woods. Like if you've got the walls and everything, it's boring. It's old hat. You got to have that voyeurism or whatever it is.
Yeah, yeah, right. The squirrels can see me.
The squirrels are looking at my bunghole.
Yeah. They're navel gazing right now.
Boom. There you go.
Yeah. Oh man.
All right. Let's see.
That was a good one.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that was an interesting. And when you told me you'd cover that, I was like, that makes so much sense. Something like that. I feel like you can still talk about for real.
Right. It's simple and it's straight to the point, and everybody knows the symbol. It's just very few people take the time to actually walk through each one of the elements and talk about how important it is to these different magical practices. And I think that's what symbology is all about. Is you have to have a form or a linkage of meaning. Like there has to be a leash between you and your objects that you're working with. And it has to be a really strong one in terms of meaning and your connection to it.
I would say if some people are really interested in it from the point of like ceremonial magic, look into Elvis Levi's like kind of stuff that he says about the pentagram too. It's kind of interesting. Some people do think that he might have kind of inspired the pentagram ritual that is known to be used by the Golden Dawn and OTO. I don't know how truthful that is, but there is, theories on that. So I would, if you're interested, you can go check out his opinion on stuff too. I got what do I got here? Yeah, let me pull up my notes here, sir. Let me make sure my and you already pulled up the visual. Thank you so much.
You're
we
welcome.
got the Haitian sun discs of Alaca Höyük. Alaca Höyük. No, Alaca Höyük. My bad. Höyük. Hoyuk. And this is a flat bronze disc and rings latticed with crosses and triangles. Their rims sprouting tiny birds. Beneath the metal flares into curved horns as if a yoke were waiting. Above, you get a crown of radiating nubs, and perched creatures turns into a small cosmos. On some, you also get a stag that stands between two bulls. On others, the animals prowl the rim while the center holds a tight grid like a net for the sky. These are the ones I'm showing here. These are the Alaca ones. It's like their standards. They're called Haitian sun discs, and they're grave goods from royal tombs of the early Bronze Age, around 22nd to 20th century BCE. Fucking old. And the age of the Haitian centuries before the rise of the Hittite Empire. What exactly are they? Archaeologists kind of have two different opinions or two different ideas for these things. One of them, what are they exactly? Animal standards: freestanding deers or bulls on four little feet that converge into a mount. And then it's a disc ring, a circular, semicircular, or composite frames filled with open work grills and ringlets, decorated with birds, flower-like rays, and frequently topped or flanked by horns. Animals recur on these discs too. You get stags, bulls, sometimes lions or panthers. And normally beasts going around the sun of metal. And then again, where did you find these things between 1935 and 1939? Hamit Kosei and Ramsey Arik excavated 14 princely tombs at Alaca, and the graves yielded rich, got these things. And they found them then. That's when they finally did. So, I mean, these things actually, technically, I mean, they're old and they are only known to us less than 100 years old. It's kind of I would consider that somewhat of a fairly new find to an extent of old shit. I mean, I know it's not something from the 80s or whatever, but still, I think that's kind of somewhat newish shit to find. The nickname, what were they used for? What do they think that they were used for? The classic interpretation comes from James Millart. So he's the one who set the standards here. Sees the standards as a wagon or chariot fittings mounted near the yoke or drawbar, probably in pairs, to crown the team that drew the ceremonial cart. Near Eastern Caucasus parallels, like around Ur-Kish, also show ringed fittings for reins and wagon fronts. The Alaca graves with their paired bull remains reinforce the vehicle reading. Yeah, so they actually do think these things might have been on shit. I guess ornaments, kind of car ornaments are actually used.
Right, they'd put them on the front of the chariots and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the back's the business end. That's the side that you want everybody looking at. So it's interesting.
Yeah, and then they have alternate ideas. A minority of scholars have proposed sistrum-like instruments. That's interesting.
Yeah.
For some Horosti bronzes with moving parts. But for the Alaca set, they still think they still believe the same thing as the other guys. Yeah, but for different ones, they do think it might be for a musical instrument. The sistrum, if people know it, that was something that's associated with Hathor as well. It kind of it almost looks like an ankh. It's going to sound silly, but I've seen people make them this way. It'll look like an ankh, and then you'll have something in the middle, and you'll put they put bottle caps in there, and you would shake it, or to make a baby rattle sound. But you'll find these little things that look like ankhs and have these metal discs that are on some sort of thing to shake it.
Right. Yeah, that's a common practice when it comes to Isis worship. You could see them holding the sistrums in all the ancient temples and stuff. But I think you said Haitian.
Yeah.
And you meant Hittite.
Oh, yeah. Did I? No, it says Haitian. Yeah. The Haitian sun discs of maybe I fucked up Hittite. because it
Yeah,
does say
because they're talking about Middle East. Pistachio was talking about it in the chat. But yeah, Hittite, that makes sense. I was looking up the designs of the ground Vive from Voodoo, and actually there's a ton of similarities in the style, right? You got these X's and but this is
I
is
did fuck
Voodoo.
that up. That's not it. Wow, holy fuck, I'm stoned. My bad.
But it's
Thank
funny
you.
though. Look,
Yeah.
you got the same kind of designs, and the Voodoo was very heavily influenced by a lot of the what was it called?
Well, put that stuff back up. That looked like a lot of the shit that was in sorry. There was tons of stuff like that was in Serpent in the Rainbow.
That's right. Yeah, that's what
That
I
shit was all over
thinking.
the walls. You remember that?
Right. And underneath all of the drums, you have to have the right designs poured out for the right kind of drum. So they've got the entire space set up according with these designs. So this actually kind of goes back to Pentacles. Like there are different ways of drawing out the designs that they use for the different types of cosmos, and this would be one of those ways. I think they're using brick dust and salt to get these designs, but I could be wrong. Really tight lines when they do it too.
That design on there almost even looks a little bit like that rod, that V rod I showed last week.
Right.
Remember the things that even Eros, I think, noticed at the top, those things that looked like acorns or whatever size, some are different than the others. This shit almost has like this thing on it, man. This is weird. It's very interesting.
There's a ton of crossover between Hittite art and Haitian art. So strangely enough, if it sounds alike, it is alike. How much you would have bet that they were doing all sorts of crazy possession rituals back then too? I think that was the norm back then, to be honest. Like what we think of as church, that was weird. Back then, it was the norm to have people, possessed by spirits and speaking in tongues and all the rest of this stuff. So do you think these could have been toppers for like staffs? Because like that's what I see. I see these going on top of staffs. But
I would even say maybe headdresses.
Could be that too. Yeah.
I could definitely see that one bottom on the bottom left for a staff for sure.
We need to bring back the ostentatious staffs. Oh, wow.
Oh, I still have more. I think I still have a few more things to say about this shit. So,
okay.
All right. Where did I leave off? Oh, fuck. The imagery. The sun disk. Why is sun disk? The nickname comes from the radiating projections in the heavenly geometry of some pieces. The Ankara University official note describes the disk as a bronze standard about 4,205 years ago in religious or other ceremonies, likely mounted and processional. Hence the course of the sun, reading the modern Turks embraced as a cultural emblem. The imagery, again, it has a circle and a ring and lattice and cosmic frame, order imposed on space. Sometimes have rays, birds, and knobs. Outbound vitality. Many discs carry small birds along the rim. You got horns at the base. Sometimes they say that could be, echo yolks and bovine power. Sometimes they splay like a crescent beneath the disc. You get a stag and two bulls, a persistent trio. You get that a lot. And again, they do have 2,200 to 2,000 BCE. They think the ones that they found at Alaca is that old. Yeah, it says the later Bronze Age is Hittite. And then before that is Hattian. That's why I fucked up. Hattian?
Hattian.
Yeah. See, I've never heard of that before. So just quickly looking at it, plus I'm vaping. I was like, oh, Asian. And then I was like, wait, there's no AK-47s in this shit. They didn't fucking make it. The only thing I think when I went to DR one time, like I was like close to, I don't know, Haitians. I'd never seen so many people walking around with AK-47s before.
Right. The X's, they use those X's for stars in Voodoo as well. So that could be something. And that lattice work in the middle, that looks very Babylonian, like they would do their holy tree with that kind of lattice work. I think.
Yo, that bottom in the middle, you know, that's a waffle maker, dude.
Right.
That's a waffle
Absolutely.
maker. That was like the original tennis racket.
Possible.
No.
Indeed, probable. Now, see, that's the thing too. It's like they didn't have like mass processed food back then. You're not going to find a bunch of food with the same shape as everything else. Like all the bread was different. It's true. It's a very different way of looking at food, though. I mean, like everything was unique back then, and now everything is sort of the same.
Yeah, that is true. I find the X's in the circled X's interesting. You know, it looks like more like an X, obviously, than a cross.
Right. That big sculpture, that's amazing. Now, where is that? Did it say where it was?
Top left
that in
one,
Syria?
I'm pretty sure was the one that was Alaca, wherever that place was again.
Well, that looks like a face. On the outside of the lattice work, those danglies could be eyes or whatever. I don't know. I don't see any serpents in there. Usually they throw some serpents in for good measure.
Yo, right?
Are those things at the bottom?
No, I think those are birds, maybe.
Damn, could be different kinds of grain. Like that's kind of what I see going on there at the top. Different types of plants. But you've got that central figure being the deer, which is kind of rare. Usually it's all bulls.
Yeah.
But yeah, especially in this region, it's usually just all bulls. But that one's a deer with a huge rack. You know, that's very what's her name? Artemis, right? Artemisian.
All right. Bam. Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
I love it.
I gotta start thinking like you did and like start pulling some like normal shit out of like magic. It's easily talk about. I mean, I've done that with like magic squares, but I mean that's still like not basic. I can't even figure that to be like a little bit. Most people don't even know what that shit is.
Right.
Yeah,
right. But we haven't even gotten into magical languages yet. Oh, yeah, they have whole sections on magical languages in book 4 and in the
Grippa.
Yeah. Grippa was big on that.
Yo, yeah. You know what's crazy? It's like, yo, if you go through like Agrippa's book and like you start looking at all those different alphabets and those different languages, you're like, yo, imagine like a third of these are still used and we just have zero clue. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of fucking like languages out that was, you know, supposedly used. I've never seen the shit before, but I mean, are people still using it? I don't know.
I think all languages that are written down come from magic at some point in the past.
Right? No, I thought that too. No, I thought that as well.
I mean, why not? I think they knew magic before they knew how to manage the state. And so they were asking the spirits about what they should call these different things, you know, because that was a constant. And to have them develop languages based off of that doesn't seem very improbable to me. I think magical languages are actually the norm. And if that's the case, well, we're all speaking one giant spell, right?
Yep. As they say.
So. But that's it. We don't have any mail. So guys, please. No.
Oh, I got some person where we could get on for like reptilian shit.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah,
I'd love to hear about their experiences.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw them on somebody else's show and I was like, yo, this would actually be really good for this. But like they're also into like the occult and other things that I can talk to them. Like I can have them on for other stuff besides that. But got some like whatever. I'm just like Bigfoot, I guess probably the same way with reptilians. You know, my hands are up in the air on that one. David Icke, you know, the way I used to, you know, first time I heard about it really was from David Icke, and the way I look at him, the way he talks about it, I just think it's more occult code, really, if anything. But, you know, not saying they don't exist. But yeah, it could be interesting. So, fuck it. I know some people are into that shit and it's a story. So fuck it. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, man. Natalie Smearman too. Let's see if we can get her coming on the mailbag. I think that'd be great. She's had so many different experiences. Why not?
Yeah, she's had yes, supposedly, yes.
Right. So yeah, it's about 30 minutes. We can fill the time, you guys. We can fill the time. So I'd really rather be listening to your story. So if you've got one, send it to Headless's Magical Mailbag at the Headless Giant Podcast at gmail.com. And we will read it.
Oh, yeah.
Any dreams too? Magical experiences? That was great last week. Getting people's magical experiences. And if you haven't had a magical experience yet, you need to try one. Just do some candle magic. It's real simple.
Yeah. Candle magic is probably like the easiest thing to start off with. But then I will say you can complicate the shit out of that and make it very advanced.
Exactly. Don't do that. But you should know how easy it is to do that.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
I think a lot of people find that after doing like their first spell, it can be real simple just to get themselves, motivated up and doing something. They kind of get hooked. And it's not really in that way of moderation when you get hooked on that kind of stuff. But if you can be aware of it, I think it's good for you to take power of your own will and actually start to make stuff, make changes. So if you guys have any magical experiences, please send them to Headless's mailbag at headlessgiantpodcast@gmail.com, and we will read them. So thank you guys so much. We'll see you again next time.
Yeah.